So I'm doing something a little crazy in my truck today, but this is an experiment to explore different options when it comes to improving the drivability of the Toyota Tacoma. I just missed my linear predictable acceleration. Oh wow. Okay, yeah, that is more spicy. Today, I'm going to be comparing and looking at the differences between getting an ECU Tune flash on your truck, like the very popular Overland Torque Tune for the Toyota Tacoma, versus getting a throttle enhancer like the Pedal Commander. These are two very popular items that people like to look into getting installed on their truck, but maybe don't quite know the differences between them or know which one is best for them. But hold on, if you're confused and are like, why do people even turn to aftermarket things like this, or what's the problem we're trying to solve here with these? Well, for the Toyota Tacoma and this generation specifically, a lot of people find that the automatic transmission shifts like crazy. You know, it's unpredictable. Not only that, but your throttle is also laggy or really spongy, so you really have to press on the gas, especially on hills, and especially if you make modifications for more weight and heavier tires, which a lot of us owners tend to fall under just because of how modifiable these trucks are. That's why so many people turn to the Pedal Commander, a device that removes acceleration lag and/or a tune like the Overland Torque Tune, which is a file that gets written to your truck's ECU that corrects all the shifting issues with more power and torque. A little bit of context, and I don't know if a lot of you out there who have driven this truck can relate to these issues, but for me, I had definitely experienced them, maybe not to the same effect or magnitude that other people were talking about. So many people over the years were telling me about how great a tune was or a throttle enhancer was, and I needed to try one out. And honestly, I was just pretty skeptical at first, so I held back for quite a while. And if you've watched my channel before, I've told this story a lot. But it wasn't until someone by the name of Paul, he's actually a tuner and owns this company called P&W Tuning and flashes these trucks with the Overland Torque Tune. He basically reached out to me and we got to chatting, and he actually gave me a really good explanation and technical breakdown of what the tune would do for my truck. So fast forward, I got the tune, made a bunch of videos about it by the way, and I realized what I had been missing out on. But then even more questions and comments started pouring into my channel, and a lot of them actually had to do with this, the Pedal Commander. What about the Pedal Commander? Isn't it the same thing? You should have tried it out first. What should I get in my truck, a tune or Pedal Commander? So that is what this video is all about. So my plan is to try each out on the same truck, my Tacoma, so hopefully keeping a single variable there. But right now, or basically at the timeline of you watching this video, my truck currently has the Overland Torque Tune already on it. So to establish a baseline, I'm going to get my truck reflashed back to the stock settings so that the transmission tables and everything else that the tune modified is back to how it was from the factory. Almost like if I never got my truck tuned. I'm going to drive on the untuned truck for a while, then install the Pedal Commander and drive on that for a while, and then get my truck reflashed back with the Overland Torque Tune and see how that feels against the Pedal Commander. I know that's a lot of switching things around in my truck quite a bit, but that kind of follows the scientific method, right? Although, full disclaimer, none of this is actually scientific at all. I am far from perfect, so take this for what it is. Speaking of disclaimers, I was provided both the tuning service as well as the Pedal Commander for free in exchange for this video, but all opinions and findings are my own, just like all my other videos. If you do want to pick up a Pedal Commander, you can do so from Tacoma Beast. I've got a 5% discount code with them if you want on anything from their website. One-stop shop for everything Toyota Tacoma. For the Overland Torque Tune, I unfortunately don't have a discount code because, you know, it's a service provided by different individuals who are professional tuners, but I will provide a map of where you can find said tuners near your area and set up an appointment with them if you like in the description box of this video. But if you do meet up with a tuner, tell them Chloe sent you because I know a lot of them, and also I think a lot of them watch my videos. Another thing is there's a lot of throttle enhancer products, just like the Pedal Commander, and there's a lot of tunes out there besides the Overland Torque Tune. The reason I picked these two things out of all the other comparable products, I guess, out there, I don't know if the tune would be called a product, but for the sake of this video, I'm gonna call it that. But it was honestly because those are the two things you guys asked me the most about on my channel when it comes to these things, and in their respective fields, I think both are pretty popular items, and it would just be a really long video if I were trying out every single possible product out there, so I'm just sticking it with these two today. And with that out of the way, let's get into my journey and experience of trying these out. But first, like I mentioned, it's off to my tuner queue to get this truck untuned. We are here, back again with Q. I don't know if you remember his truck from the last video, and we're getting the truck untuned. The things I do for science, but you guys wanted it. I bet a lot of people don't ask you to get untuned.
No, people will like kind of respect the next person, and they will like say, hey, I'm selling my truck.
Right.
I'm going to tune it back to stock for the next guy.
Oh, okay.
You know, they don't have to, but they want to.
You just take like the stock flash file that you have and then...
That's it. So it's an unmodified file that comes from BF Tuner. So we take the stock file that's based off of our directory, and then we'll just flash a bone stock tune.
If you saw my first video where I originally got my truck tuned, from the install standpoint, this is pretty similar. You just sit back and let the tuner do their thing, which, as Q just mentioned, is flashing the ECU to the base stock settings. If you want more details and specifics of what's happening here, check out my first video where I went more in depth, but yeah, this only took a few minutes. This drive home is gonna be interesting. I'm gonna like have to hit the pedal with like a brick. And interesting it was, because after I finished drinking my Dutch Bros, I drove back home and man, was the truck different without the tune. Oh my gosh. It's so crazy how desensitized I am to the throttle now. What have I done? Guys, this sucks. Wow, that was a huge difference. The only thing that I can really say is that I was really caught off guard with driving on the stock settings again because of how different the truck would behave. Also, the day after I got my tune undone, I happened to be driving from San Diego to LA, and it was horrible without it. So I am currently smack dead in the middle of LA rush hour traffic on the 405. This is gonna be a long drive home to San Diego. I picked a bad week to get this truck untuned. If this constant stop and go traffic wasn't bad enough for me, the constant shifting is also really annoying. And it'll go from like first to second okay, then upshift really hard to third really quickly, and then to fourth really quickly, and then sometimes like back down to third. I just missed my like linear predictable acceleration. What I'm describing here was a shifting pattern I was starting to notice with the truck's ECU in its stock form. Like, I'm kind of shocked I didn't notice this for the years before I even got a tune, because this felt like a big difference going from tune to no tune all of a sudden. But basically, my truck, whenever I went on a slight incline or slightly uphill, would basically shift from first to second to third okay, and then unnecessarily and really quickly to shift up to fourth, and then I couldn't get the power I needed, so I would have to kind of hit the gas pedal pretty hard, and then it would really harshly shift back down to third. That was like very common and frankly very annoying too. And then with the pedal just in general not being as sensitive, like I was kind of saying, I was having to press the gas pretty hard to get my truck to respond. I really just missed the better control and predictability I have with the Tune Tacoma. Needless to say, I was very eager to try out whatever the pedal commander had to offer after driving my truck in its stock form. Okay, so about 2 weeks went by of me driving back on my stock settings. I think my brain somewhat calibrated because I had time to adjust, so I felt like it was fair to install the pedal commander and test drive my truck for a while with that, so I got it all installed. Alright you guys, my Tacoma Beast package came in and here is the pedal commander. I am so stoked to try this out, and check out this packaging. It looks really, really nice. They did a great job with this, but since this is a physical product that we can actually unbox, let's take this to my bench and see what's inside. So the box has these neat little push tabs. This thing's actually a lot smaller than I thought. I don't know how big I was expecting it to be, but in my opinion, the smaller the better, as long as we can still push the buttons easily, which it looks like we can. So here's the card for the app, which I'll download right now. This seems pretty self-explanatory. Looks like we've got the controller plus the harness attached to it, and that's pretty much all of the hardware. Besides that, oh wow, look at this. They even got their own branded wipes. That's pretty cool. And some Velcro so that we can mount this anywhere in the truck. I guess with the app though, you technically don't need like this controller if you technically just want to do everything through your phone. Got the 3.5 liter. Are you aware of your vehicle's accelerator lag? Yes. Have I used a throttle controller before? Technically, does the Tune count? I'm gonna say no because I've never used like a hardware device. All right, once you register, you get this legal warning, and then it looks like we'll have to actually install this in the truck so that we can actually get it connected to the phone. So let's go do that. All right, so hopefully you guys can see there's like this OEM connector, and we're basically going to just remove this and tee in the pedal commander. Definitely want to make sure you hear that click. Then plug these two in together. And that's it for the wiring. And then to actually mount this, we've got lots of different options. You know, I was thinking about the side panel over here, or maybe up here. This would give me the best accessibility, although I don't like this wire jutting out a little bit. But you know, I was thinking, since I'm probably going to try using the app more than this physical controller itself, I'm gonna opt to hide this in a more hidden area. So like maybe even over here, and then we can tuck most of the wire back here. I'll use the provided double-sided Velcro. All right, I like that, nice and stealthy. Let's make sure my Tacoma starts first. Okay, not that I expect it wouldn't. I was scared about it not starting with the Tune first time it got flashed too, so that's a good thing. With the truck on, you see it now has power. Oh my gosh, it's all the way on Sport Plus mode. Let's see if we can change that in the app. Hopefully you can see when I make corresponding changes in the app, the LED up there changes too. I'm gonna definitely turn this to like city mode or maybe eco. Maybe not. Let's try city. All right, so I've been driving for a while now with the pedal commander actually installed but not turned on. So I'm on the complete stock settings of my truck. What I've been basically just trying to do is establish a baseline for this drive so that right when I turn the pedal commander on, I can feel the difference right on the spot. That is, if there is going to be a difference. Alright, I don't know if I should find a parking lot to pull into and turn it on, or if I should just do it right now at the stoplight. Kind of curious. Okay, screw it. I'm gonna do it. City mode. Whoa. Hello. Wow. Oh my gosh, and we're going up a hill now too. Okay, so on that hill, it still had a little bit of that weird shifting pattern and it kind of gear hunted, but I will say I felt like I had more control because the pedal was more sensitive, so it didn't feel as bad. However, I don't want to undermine the fact that the gas was really a lot more touchy and I got less throttle lag, which felt awesome over the stock settings I was dealing with for the past few weeks. Right off the get-go, I'm not used to that. It's like I kind of have to relearn my throttle sensitivity again. So what's pretty crazy here is you can change the mode like on the fly and turn it on and off on the fly while you're driving, and that allowed me to really feel the before and after difference, turning it off to going to city mode right away. Okay, so I've been driving on city mode for a while now. Let's change it to sport. Oh wow. Okay, yeah, that is more spicy, which I guess is to be expected. Overall, I think sport is just a tad too sensitive for me, even when I bumped down the response to -4, but I could see why people would like it. It really just did have the same effects as the city mode, just with a slightly touchier throttle. Now what you really don't want to do is go from sport to turning it off. I just did that now for fun and it's not fun. I really have to press down hard on the gas for this thing to go now. So I was really only playing with city and sport mode, but I'm sure you guys can see that there are 2 other modes here as well. Eco, which actually gives you an "Are you sure?" prompt, as well as Sport Plus mode, which I'm scared of, so I'm gonna go back here. I didn't really play around with the Eco or Sport Plus modes because I think the other 2 modes are more representative to what I and most other people would actually be driving with. So you guys can see here that there are these plus and minus buttons, and basically these are more fine-tuned controls to increase or decrease the response. I did find that even on city mode, it was very touchy, and maybe that was because my reference was, you know, the stock form where there was little response to start out with, which really made me enjoy city with a -3 or -4 level. If you look at all the 4 modes up here, Eco, City, Sport, and Sport Plus, even though I didn't really touch these 2, if you count them, there's 4 modes, 9 different response settings per mode, 9 because 0 is inclusive of this response level. That means there are 36 levels you can get out of this unit. I mean, it's pretty cool, but it's a lot of settings. But it also means it suits a wide range of drivers, of course. For the few weeks I drove with the pedal commander, I was very happy with it. It is certainly better than how the truck is in the stock configuration, and I do think it does exactly as it says it's supposed to do. Again, unique to the 3rd generation Toyota Tacoma is that interesting shifting pattern, and yeah, with the pedal commander, I still saw it shift kind of oddly, especially when going up hills and everything. It still had that extra little shift, but it didn't feel as bad. But the touchier throttle allowed me to not have to slam on the gas to get the power I needed, which was a big improvement over stock. The pedal commander never really advertised or claimed to fix this specific issue with the Toyota Tacoma, so it wasn't something I was really expecting and had high hopes for. But all I'm trying to say is it did have a positive effect on that inherent issue. While I did enjoy the pedal commander, it was time to try out the tune again, this time of course with a new perspective. So here's Q flashing the Overland Torque Tune on my truck again. Q Q put the exact same tune I originally had on my truck, the mild version of the Overland Torque Tune, but you know, depending on your weight, your tire size, your gears, your tuner should take all that information when selecting a tune for you. Compared to the pedal commander, there really isn't much to show you guys except a computer screen because again, this really isn't a physical product and there aren't buttons and lights and different modes I can go through. Besides when you're driving, everything will pretty much look and feel the same. And also, this is not something you can really do on your own. Unless you have the VF Tuner software and all the licenses and all the tuning equipment and a battery tender because you don't want your truck to turn off while you're in the middle of flashing your ECU. So more likely than not, you guys are gonna have a tuner do this for you. But once this 5-minute process is done, how did the driving feel? Especially after driving on an untuned truck and then the pedal commander for the past few weeks. I think I said this in my first video, but it's like you put a new transmission in my truck because it doesn't do any of that like weird unnecessary shifting. Yeah, it's holding gear. It's definitely doing a lot less gear hunting. So right away, I think that you too will quickly notice that a tune affects the shifting, and in my case, seems to fix the gear hunting on hills. But what about the throttle response? The throttle setting that Q put on my truck is actually a lot less sensitive than even the pedal commander city mode, but I actually like it. It's a perfect happy medium for me. The throttle sensitivity isn't something like with the pedal commander where you can actually change dynamically while you're driving. You do have to go back to the tuner and have them adjust it for you. So yeah, you can't fine tune it while you're driving like you can with the pedal commander. But something I learned is that with the Overland Torque Tune, you still do kind of get a throttle control interface in your truck, and that is through the ECT power button. Before I had my tune, I really didn't use the ECT power button that much in my truck because I didn't really notice that much of a difference, but your tune does something with the button, right?
Correct. So right now, your ECT button with our tune, when we have it programmed, when you press it, you can press it at any time, whether your vehicle is stopped or when it's running. But what the button does is it's going to raise your initial throttle response another level. So for example, if you were on light, now you're going to have a mild throttle setting. And the second thing that the ECT button will do with our tune is it's going to extend your shift points a little bit longer. So if you've got a load going up a hill or you're towing something, it's nice to press that button to kind of extend that power band to make your truck more useful in that gear.
So basically, as Q kind of explained it to me, pressing it now gives you more throttle on top of whatever you have your tune set at, which can be nice if you want to adjust throttle settings on the fly. Overall, I have to hand it to this tune because it is truly amazing what it does for this truck. And I have no idea if other tunes for the Tacoma out there can accomplish the same thing, just because I haven't personally tried them out. But the Tacoma drives so much better with the tune. It's nice having some of that guesswork taken away from the original stock driving experience. It's just so much better. With weeks of driving my truck on both setups and being able to really tell the differences between each, here are my overall thoughts when it comes to buying a pedal commander versus paying for a tuning service like the Overland Torque Tune for your Tacoma. Okay, so now putting both next to each other and directly comparing them, what are the different price points? The pedal commander, from what I see, tops off at about $300. The Overland Torque Tune and just tuning in general is going to vary in pricing, but I would say from what I've seen around recently, it's about $400 to $500 on average for the Overland Torque Tune. And if we're looking at the features you get with both of them, I would say both get a checkbox in increasing your throttle response or giving you better control of your gas pedal. Maybe I give a little bit of an extra plus to the pedal commander because you do get more adjustability on the spot. But the Overland Torque Tune does give you a pretty big extra feature when it comes to the Toyota Tacoma specifically, and that is the change in shift points. It actually corrects the shifting and eliminates that gear hunting for the most part. It's almost like if you bought the Toyota Tacoma and it drives exactly how you want it to straight from the factory. And the pedal commander wasn't purpose-built to fix this exact problem that I'm describing, but again, it never was expected to necessarily. It never advertised that it would fix that for the Toyota Tacoma. It does mitigate the problem though through the increased sensitivity of your pedal. Besides deciding on if that extra $100 to $200 of value add really is what you want for your truck, do you want something that is a set and forget type of thing like the Tune, or do you want to have that adjustability at your fingertips with the pedal commander? Another important thing to think about is the safety, or how each affects smog or visits to the dealership, since obviously these are both changing the drivability of the truck. If you make a visit to the dealership, I would recommend removing the pedal commander just so they can't turn you down for anything if there are issues that come up. I do like how easy it is to remove the pedal commander, and for that matter, install as well. You guys saw how quick and easy it was. You don't need anybody else, you can do it yourself. So removing it would be really fast too, and I see this as a big plus. I can't say the Tune is also easily removable or installable yourself because, again, you probably need a tuner and their equipment to do so. But then again, I also don't see too much trouble with driving your truck as is with the Tune when you're getting service done. I haven't heard any issues of people getting this Tune and then getting refused by the dealership. The same, I guess, would go for smog. Obviously, just remove the pedal commander so that the truck is back in its stock form, and for a Tune, at least with the Overland Torque Tune, seems like people in California aren't having issues getting smogged with the Tune either, which is good. The last thing I'll mention is my gas mileage, since I'm sure this is a big question for some people, and understandably so. And I will say my testing was kind of crude. You guys know I was only trying these things out for 2 weeks, but I tried to take clips of what my average MPG looked like without anything, then with the pedal commander, then with the Tune, and I really didn't see any big jumps. My MPG averages to around 18 to 19 miles per gallon. Sometimes it's a little lower, sometimes it's a little higher. But anyways, whether the pedal commander or Overland Torque Tune could affect gas mileage to some degree, I just didn't see a drastic change for me to favor one over the other. Overall, a Tune, and really, again, I can only speak for the Overland Torque Tune because that's what we tested on this truck, I think is for somebody who is a daily driver that just wants that better driving experience in their truck. I think the pedal commander is for somebody who wants to have a lot of different control at their fingertips. It's for somebody who wants to change their throttle settings depending on their driving situation. Anyways, I hope that was good insight into the differences of a Tune versus a throttle enhancer, specifically looking at the Overland Torque Tune and the pedal commander. I did find that either of these were much better than how the truck drives in its stock form. I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say in the comments, especially if you're someone who has tried both. I'd be really curious to hear your experience. Anyways, thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. If you want to connect more with me, you can follow me on my Instagram. It is at ChloeKuo Taco. I post more in real time on there, but other than that, I hope I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.